I, 32F, need help processing something that happened last weekend. First, let me give some background so everyone understands our situation better. I've been married to Archie, 34M, for 6 years, together for 8. We met at a college reunion through my roommate Kate, who worked with Archie. I wasn't looking for a relationship then. I had just ended a 5-year relationship with Tom, my college boyfriend, whom my parents thought was perfect for me because he was in medical school. Archie was different from anyone I'd dated before. He worked in IT, loved video games, and made me laugh constantly. We started as friends, hanging out in group settings, until one day he asked me out. I was hesitant because Kate warned me that Archie had trust issues from his previous relationship where his ex cheated on him with his friend. But he was so genuine and kind that I decided to give it a shot. Our dating period was amazing. We did everything together: hiking, gaming, trying new restaurants. He even learned to grade papers with me. I'm a high school teacher. My parents weren't thrilled because they still thought I should have stayed with Tom, but they came around when they saw how happy I was. Archie proposed after 2 years at the same arcade where we had our first date. I was always curvy but athletic before pregnancy. I played volleyball in college and kept up with recreational leagues until I got pregnant with Zoe. The pregnancy was rough. I had severe morning sickness for 7 months and was put on bed rest for the last 6 weeks. I gained 65 pounds. After Zoe was born, I developed postpartum depression and struggled to lose the weight. Archie seemed supportive at first. He took care of everything when I could barely get out of bed, handled night feedings so I could sleep, and kept telling me I was beautiful. When I went back to teaching after my maternity leave, he adjusted his work schedule so we could manage childcare. Everything seemed fine on the surface. But over the last year, I noticed small changes. He stopped initiating intimacy. When I tried, he'd say he was tired from work. He no longer suggested date nights. When we took family photos, he'd only post ones where Zoe and he were in frame. I told myself I was being paranoid. Last weekend changed everything. Archie was cooking dinner while I was reading in the living room. Zoe was napping, and it was one of those rare peaceful moments. He asked me to check a recipe on his phone since his hands were messy from cooking. We've always had complete access to each other's phones. It was something we agreed on early in our relationship after his experience with his cheating ex. While looking for the recipe, I saw a notes widget with my name on it. I assumed it was a shopping list or maybe gift ideas since our anniversary is coming up. I wish I had never opened it. The note was dated 3 days ago. It started with things to process about Emily and went downhill from there. He wrote about how he barely recognizes me anymore, how my double chin makes my face look swollen, and how my stretchy pants and oversized shirts make me look like I've given up. He mentioned missing my old body and how he finds himself looking at my old Instagram photos to remember how attractive I used to be. The worst part was him writing that he feels trapped, that he loves me as Zoe's mother but isn't attracted to me anymore. He wrote that he feels guilty for these thoughts but can't help comparing me to other moms at Zoe's daycare who bounced back after pregnancy. I quietly put his phone back and went to check on Zoe, who was still sleeping. I sat in her room crying silently, looking at her perfect little face, and wondering if her father regrets choosing me to be her mother. Since then, I've been going through the motions. I get up, get Zoe ready, go to work, teach my students, come home, take care of Zoe, and go to bed. Archie keeps asking what's wrong, saying I seem distant. How do I tell him I know he finds me repulsive? My sister Amy thinks I should confront him. She says marriage is about honesty and that maybe this could lead to a productive conversation. My best friend Laura suggested couples counseling, but the thought of sitting in front of a stranger while my husband lists all the ways I've let myself go makes me want to throw up. I haven't told my parents because I know exactly what would happen. My mom would call Tom's mom, they're still friends, to mention that Tom is divorced now and has his own medical practice. My dad would give me that I told you so look he perfected when I chose teaching over law school. The thing is, Archie isn't cruel to me. He still says I love you every day, helps with Zoe, and does his share of housework. If I hadn't seen that note, I might have continued thinking we were just in a rough patch that would pass. But now I can't unsee his words. Every time he looks at me, I wonder if he's thinking about how fat I am. Every time he says he's not in the mood, I assume it's because I disgust him. I've started wearing even baggier clothes, if that's possible. I skip meals when he's around so he doesn't have to watch me eat. I take showers in the dark so I don't have to see myself. When Zoe wants to take selfies with mommy, her new favorite thing, I find excuses to avoid it. I know I should probably talk to him, but I'm scared of what else he might say. What if the note was just the tip of the iceberg? What if he admits he's been thinking about leaving? Zoe adores her dad, and I can't imagine putting her through a divorce just because her mom got fat. I'm looking for advice that doesn't involve immediately ending my marriage. Zoe meets both her parents, and despite everything, I still love Archie. I just don't know how to move forward knowing what he really thinks of me. Edit, I'm overwhelmed by all the responses. Thank you for your support. To clarify, Archie has never verbally criticized my appearance and still tells me he loves me. That's what makes this so confusing. Edit 2, please stop sending me weight loss tips and diet plans. This isn't about my weight, it's about trust and respect in my marriage. Update 1 first, I want to thank everyone who commented on my original post. Your support gave me the courage to finally confront Archie about what I found. But things haven't gone the way I hoped, and everything is so much worse now. After reading all your comments, I decided to talk to Archie last Saturday when Zoe was at my sister's for her weekly playdate with her cousins. I had it all planned out. I'd calmly tell him what I found and we'd have an honest discussion about our marriage. I started by asking him if he was happy with our marriage. He said yes, though he wished we spent more time together like we used to. When I mentioned intimacy, he got quiet. That's when I told him about finding the note on his phone. His reaction shocked me. Instead of apologizing, he got angry. He stood up and started pacing, asking why I was snooping through his private thoughts. I reminded him that we've always shared phones and that I wasn't snooping. The note was right there on his widget. He said that doesn't give me the right to read his personal notes, that they're like a diary. When I stayed calm and asked if we could discuss the content of the note rather than how I found it, things got worse. He admitted that yes, he finds my current appearance unattractive. He said he still loves me but wishes I'd try harder to look like I used to. He mentioned how other moms at Zoe's daycare managed to stay fit despite having kids. I was trying to hold it together, but then he said something that broke me. He said he's been patient about my weight for 2 years, hoping I'd snap out of it and care about my appearance again. As if I've been deliberately choosing to look this way to spite him. Through tears, I told him about my struggles with postpartum depression, how I still sometimes look at Zoe and feel guilty for not being a good enough mother, how his withdrawal of affection made everything worse. He seemed uncomfortable and said he didn't know how to handle my emotional outbursts. That's when his phone buzzed. A message preview popped up from his mother Sandra, found another great deal on that weight loss program we discussed. Don't forget to mention it to Emily gently. My heart stopped. I asked him what that was about, and he tried to dismiss it. But after I pressed him, he admitted that he's been talking to his mother about my weight for months. Sandra, who has always made little digs about my appearance, has apparently been sending him links to weight loss programs, plastic surgeons, and even those sketchy supplement programs. I felt like I couldn't breathe. Not only has my husband been secretly disgusted by me, but he's been discussing my body with his mother? I grabbed his phone, he didn't stop me this time, and scrolled through their messages. There were dozens of conversations about me, with Sandra saying things like no wonder you're not intimate anymore and you shouldn't have to settle for this. When I confronted Sandra directly by calling her, she had the audacity to say she's just concerned about my health and her son's happiness. She said watching me let myself go has been hard for her because she wants her son to have an attractive wife. Archie stood there while his mother said these things and only offered a weak "Mom, maybe tone it down." I packed a bag and moved into our guest bedroom that night. Archie says I'm overreacting. He tried to justify everything by saying most men think about their wives' appearances but just don't say it out loud. He said Sandra means well and that I'm being too sensitive. When I brought up how they'd been discussing my body behind my back, he said he needed someone to talk to about his struggles. My sister Amy has offered me and Zoe her spare room. She's furious with Archie and Sandra. She reminded me that Sandra did something similar to Archie's previous girlfriend before me, constantly criticized her appearance until she developed an eating disorder. I didn't know about this because Archie always said they broke up due to different life goals. Archie keeps apologizing, not for what he wrote or discussed with his mother, but for letting me find out this way. He promised to stop discussing me with Sandra, but last night I heard him on the phone with her in the garage, telling her I'm being unreasonable and need time to calm down. I don't know what to do anymore. Every time I look at Archie, I see him and his mother dissecting my appearance. When he tries to touch me, even just to pat my shoulder, I flinch. Zoe asked me why I'm sleeping in the guest room, and I don't know what to tell her. The worst part? I found myself Googling those weight loss programs Sandra suggested. For a moment, I actually considered trying them just to make them both happy. Then I caught myself and realized how messed up that is. I haven't decided if I'm going to take Amy up on her offer yet. Part of me wants to run away, but another part feels like that would prove them right, that I'm too emotional and can't handle difficult conversations. Archie says he wants us to move past this, that we can work on our issues together. But how do I move past knowing my husband and his mother have been having secret conversations about my body? How do I ever feel comfortable around either of them again? Edit. To those asking about marriage counseling, Archie says he'll go if I insist, but he thinks we can handle this ourselves if I just try to see his perspective. Edit 2. Please stop messaging me about how I'm teaching my daughter it's okay to be unhealthy. This isn't about health, it's about trust and respect. Update 2. Things have taken an unexpected and devastating turn. After my last update, I did move to Amy's place with Zoe, just to get some space and clear my head. I only posted about the separation on Facebook because I needed to explain why Zoe and I weren't at family events. It was a simple post saying that Archie and I were taking time apart to work on some issues. I didn't mention anything about his notes or his mother's involvement. That post opened a floodgate I wasn't prepared for. 3 women from Archie's office reached out to me within hours of each other. The first was Rachel, a new project manager who joined their team 6 months ago. The second was Beth, who's worked with Archie for 3 years. The third was Diane, their team lead. Rachel's message hit me the hardest. She sent screenshots of office chat conversations where Archie had been discussing our marriage. He wasn't just venting about normal marital problems, he was specifically complaining about my appearance. In one chat, he compared me unfavorably to Rachel, saying things like my wife could learn something from you about taking care of herself. He even joked about being stuck with someone who let herself go while other guys in the office got to work with motivated women. Beth revealed that Archie has been making these comments during lunch breaks and team meetings for months. She said she felt uncomfortable but didn't know how to report it without creating workplace drama. Diane, as team lead, admitted she had warned Archie about inappropriate conversations at work, but he dismissed it as just guys talking. The real bombshell came when Rachel confessed that she and Archie had been going to the gym together for the past 2 months. They work out 3 times a week before coming to the office. She said nothing inappropriate happened, but she felt guilty keeping it from me, especially after seeing those chat messages. I confronted Archie with the screenshots. At first, he tried to play it off as workplace banter that I was taking too seriously. But when I mentioned Rachel and the gym sessions, he broke down. He admitted to everything, the gym sessions, the workplace comments, and yes, comparing me to Rachel. I checked his phone again, he gave me his password as a sign of transparency, and found dozens of workout selfies with Rachel. They're both sweaty and smiling in gym mirrors, looking like a perfect fit couple. He even captioned one finally found a workout partner who keeps me motivated. The date showed he took that picture 2 days after I found his original note about my appearance. Archie swears nothing physical has happened between them. He said Rachel is just a friend who shares his interest in fitness. When I asked why he never invited me to join them at the gym, he said he didn't think I'd be able to keep up with their routine. The way he said it, with this mixture of pity and disdain, made me realize how little he respects me. I asked Archie to move out temporarily. He's staying with his mother, which has made everything worse. Sandra has been calling every family member who will listen, telling them I'm breaking up her son's marriage over a few harmless comments about health. She's painting Rachel as some kind of fitness mentor who's just trying to help our family. Some relatives are taking her side. Archie's aunt called me selfish for not appreciating his honesty about my health. His cousin, who struggled with weight herself, suggested I should be grateful that Archie cares enough to want me to be better. Even my own mother, who never liked Archie, said maybe I should try working out with them if it would save my marriage. They don't get it. This isn't about weight anymore. It's about my husband sharing private details of our marriage with his co-workers, making me the subject of office gossip, and secretly spending time with another woman while putting me down. It's about him letting his mother interfere in our marriage and turn family against me. Zoe asked me yesterday when we're going home. I didn't know what to tell her. How do I explain to a 2-year-old that Daddy would rather go to the gym with his pretty co-worker than spend time with us? Archie keeps texting that he wants to work things out, that he'll stop going to the gym with Rachel if it bothers me that much. But he still doesn't see what he did wrong. In his mind, he's the victim of a wife who let herself go and now won't let him have female friends. I have an appointment with a lawyer next week. I'm not saying it's definitely over, but I need to know my options. At this point, I don't know what hurts more, the betrayal of trust or the realization that my husband has so little respect for me. Edit. Stop telling me the gym selfies prove they're having an affair. I have enough to deal with without jumping to conclusions. Update 3. I've been putting off this final update because writing it makes everything feel more real. After much consideration and several counseling sessions, alone as Archie refused to join, I filed for divorce. Many of you saw this coming, but I needed to be sure I wasn't making an emotional decision. The final straw wasn't what you might expect. Yes, finding out about Archie's notes hurt. His mother's interference was awful. The workplace gossip was humiliating. But what broke me was discovering the full extent of Archie and Rachel's relationship. My colleague Jennifer saw them at La Maison, an expensive French restaurant downtown. She said they looked very comfortable together, laughing and sharing food. When she mentioned this, I checked our joint credit card statements, something I should have done sooner. There were dozens of dinner charges at restaurants I'd never been to, all on evenings Archie said he was working late or having team dinners. When I confronted him with the credit card statements, Archie first tried to say these were group dinners with the whole team. But the amounts were clearly for 2 people, and some were from weekends. He finally admitted that yes, he and Rachel had been having dinner after their gym sessions. He insisted it was innocent, just 2 friends refueling after workouts. I might have believed him if Jennifer hadn't sent me photos. In them, Rachel was wearing a dress, not gym clothes. Archie had changed out of his work clothes too. They weren't 2 sweaty gym buddies grabbing protein shakes, they were a couple on a date. Sandra, predictably, defended Archie. She said I drove him to seek companionship elsewhere by letting myself go and being paranoid. She's telling everyone that I'm using Zoe to punish Archie, even though I've been more than fair with visitation. I let him see Zoe whenever he wants, as long as he doesn't bring Rachel around. The divorce proceedings have started. I'm staying with Amy until I can find my own place. My lawyer says Archie's behavior, while hurtful, doesn't qualify as adultery in our state since there's no proof of physical intimacy. That's fine, I'm not looking to punish him. I just want out. Some unexpected developments have occurred. Beth and Diane both wrote statements about Archie's workplace behavior, which helped with the divorce negotiations. Several of Archie's relatives have apologized after seeing how he's handled everything, especially after learning about the secret dinners. Even Sandra's best friend Joyce called to say she was wrong about me and offered to babysit Zoe anytime I need help. The most surprising call came from Archie's ex-girlfriend, the one before me who supposedly left over different life goals. She reached out after hearing about our situation through mutual friends. Turns out Sandra had done the same thing to her, constant criticism about her appearance, sending diet plans, encouraging Archie to find someone better. History really does repeat itself. I've started swimming at the local Y while Zoe plays in their childcare center. Not to lose weight for anyone else, but because I forgot how much I enjoyed being in the water. Zoe loves watching me swim and asked to join my mermaid time. Archie is still with his mother, though I heard from mutual friends that Rachel has been staying over there too. They're welcome to each other. I'm focusing on healing and being the mother Zoe deserves. Looking back, I realized the note I found was just a symptom of a deeper problem. Archie never saw me as a partner to grow with, he saw me as a project to fix. When I stopped fitting his ideal image, he found someone who did. To everyone who told me I was overreacting in my first post, this is why we trust our gut instincts. Sometimes a hurtful note is just the first crack in a much bigger facade. Last edit, this will be my final update. Thank you all for your support through this journey. Special thanks to those who shared similar stories, you helped me realize I wasn't alone.